Plus, you make the Razor have to have multiple... Like it makes Razor's life a little bit difficult as well, because if you run a one-core lineup, then it's super easy for the Razor, since you just have to static link that one person who's doing all of the physical damage. But in this situation, you have both Shadow Fiend and you have the Lycan, who will do a lot of right-click damage at some point in the game, and you can't static link both of them, so at least you always have one decent right-click damage. That's what Gambit will have to play around. Vega Squadron. Their lineup is probably the more standard and less greedy, so I would say that looks to be the best lineup in my eyes. I love the Night Stalker Batrider lane against Lycan, Tree, and Bane. I think that lane is going to be very, very difficult for Gambit to salvage. They will have to play very well in that lane. They'll probably have to trial in the beginning, and I'm not sure how they're going to be able to salvage that exactly, because it's not going to be an easy lane. And if you have the Legion solo off lane, he's going to have absolutely no way of dealing with this Razor. So to me, it just seems like Vega Squadron have two lanes that seems fairly easy to win. And for the mid lane, that's an even lane. Like, if the DK just gets even farm with the Shadow Fiend, or even if he gets a little bit less farm than the Shadow Fiend, it doesn't really matter too much, because you should win the other two lanes. So as long as Vega Squadron don't lose the mid lane hard against the Shadow Fiend, then I don't think it's going to be easy for Gambit to get out of the laning stage in a good way. We'll see though. We'll see. The very greedy lineup, having a tri-core like this, Legion, Shadow Fiend, and Lycan, 3 heroes that all needs to get a good amount of farm before they can do anything. So I don't know, man. It seems too greedy. Seems too greedy.
30 seconds to battle.
Something like the Puck or the Queen of Pain mid would have probably been more preferable, because then at least you have a hero that can rotate to the other lanes once he's level 6. And if the top lane is hard, you can like rotate and get a kill on the Batrider with a Dream Coil or Sonic Wave. But with a Shadow Fiend, you're pretty much just telling your team that, okay, well, if you lose the lane, I can't really do anything unless I get a good rune. So good luck, have fun.
Begins.
Is a great conductor.
Wait, what? Okay. I didn't even pay attention to the fact that the Disruptor and the Night Stalker bested the enemy jungle, pushed away the Shadow Fiend, making sure that he could not get that rune. So that is 3 runes going to the side of Vega Squadron, making a nice little cheap move. Just understanding that, well, we have Vision over here. We know that the supports in the top lane. We know that they're starting with a tri-lane. So let's just make a move to the enemy Shadow Fiend's rune, pick it up. I'm a Night Stalker. I'm super tanky. So even if there were 3 people here, I'm probably going to survive regardless. See the mid lane? We have Mr. Slayer from Vega zoning away Kumine a little bit, making sure that the DK gets the first creep wave for free, and indeed he is going to get all of these lasts with that Quelling Blade. It makes everything very, very easy. And top lane, in the meantime, we have a first blood. So okay, the Gambit trident makes it work. They get the first blood on that Batrider with the Orb of Venom, the Leech Seed from the Tree and Protector. Not going for the Invis, but going for the Leech Seed, as this is actually a fairly good thing to do in some cases, because you know the Treant is in this lane. It's very obvious, so playing around being in this and like sneaking up on people is not a thing that usually works that well. So if you get a Leech Seed off, you get a little bit more damage off. You can trade hits with the Night Stalker fairly easily, as you can see. Just clicking him in the face, plus using that Leech Seed is very nice. The Night Stalker will go for pull in the meantime. Just make sure that the Batrider gets the experience that he so desperately needs. Slayer will be forced to use a little bit of mana to drag the creep wave because he lost. Oh, he keeps losing aggro. He can't get them across those staircases. As this is actually one of the most annoying places to pull creeps. It's like you pull them up and then you go over here and then you have to like go back and keep hitting them until they go up on the stairs, because otherwise they want to be annoying. But that does secure the Batrider his level 2, so he can get his Firefly up and running, and that means he can jungle. He already has 1 camp stacked, so it's not like the Batrider is out of it. He's going to be able to get more than enough farm for himself. The Legion is level 2 in the meantime, almost level 3. Does have a couple of 7 lasts to his name, so he's doing okay for himself. he is doing okay for himself. Alright, so far so good. Just one kill so far. Mid lane is even at 17 for 17 last hits. Safe laners is doing evenly, and even the off laners is, well, I guess the Legion right now is ahead, but that's only until the point where Batrider decides to actually farm these camps, and looks like he wants to stagger it one more time before farming it. That's going to be the case. In the meantime, let's see Night Stalker taking a lot of damage here, trying to go in and contest this pull. That is a very, very interesting. How did they get that? Oh, I know. Never mind. The Night Stalker tried to do the same thing. He tried to go in and pull the creep wave to make sure the Batrider could get some easy creeps. As he's trying to secure the Batrider's lane as much as possible. And one of the ways you can do that is obviously just by having either the support or the Batrider himself constantly going behind the creep wave and dragging the creeps back. Normally, as a Batrider, it's always a risky thing to do because you're so easy to kill when you do that if they're sitting with both supports ready. But the Night Stalker is a fairly risk-free hero to do it on since he's so goddamn tanky. He has boots, so killing him is not going to be easy. It's going to be nighttime very soon, in 15 seconds. So the Night Stalker will, well, I guess you can't really say he's going to be able to do anything because he's not level 2 yet, so he does not have Hunter of the Night ready yet. Meaning that he's actually going to not do anything in at least the first half of the nighttime because he's so underleveled. Fairly unfortunate. Fairly unfortunate. He really needs to get that level up and running. It's nighttime and you don't have the movement speed on the Night Stalker. That is the worst. But they will go for 2-man smoke gank. They'll move into the mid lane. They'll try to set something up on that Shadow Fiend. In the meantime, we do have the Treant Protector nearby, but he's not close enough to make any difference. He is trying to go invisible first. Kuman does have a double damage rune right now. And let's see, they roam around. They go for that smoke around. Bignum is going to be in the way though if they move that way. So they need to wait. Night Stalker does get his level 2 now. They just have the Hunter in the night. He's very fast and they go in. They try to set up on Kuman. Kuman is going to be fighting this one. He tries to go onto the Night Stalker. He does get the kill on the Night Stalker before dropping down, but he will die regardless. So still worth the trade-off for the side of Vegas Squad, and I'm sure they're going to be fine with losing the Night Stalker level 2 to get the Shadow Fiend kill. They even force the Bane to make a TP rotation, so... Oh, is the Dragonite in danger? I don't think he's in danger. I'm not sure what this is. I mean... You just gave the Shadow Fiend, instead of having like 10 souls, he gets back to full souls because of that last hit. And I'm sure sending him back to the base is not really a good enough reason to give up your life. But that was, you know, an interesting play from the Disruptor. Interesting play. Sometimes we do fancy things. Sometimes we try to do fancy things, and then it just does not really seem worth it. So Kuman will go into the jungle. He's going to be trying to clear this triple stack, and that's a lot of health as he's going to be taking down. Lots and lots of gold going his way. He's level 6 now. So I guess the DK is also at that point. Yeah, he's Treant Protector will leech a little bit of the experience in the mid lane in the meantime, as that's always what you want to do when you send your mid lane into the jungle. You just have a support leech the lane in the meantime, so you don't lose any value. The Lycan is going to be jungling a little bit. The Night Stalker is scouting him out though, but I'm not sure how much you can do about this. He's just going to be leeching a little bit of the experience. Might as well get something out of it, right? Looks like he might... Is he going to try and go for another pull through? I don't think the Batrider needs any more help. He's level 5 right now. He has 3 points on his Firefly. He's getting decent amounts of CS, but despite that, the Legion is actually still ahead of him in terms of draw last hits and levels, just because he's been jungling. He had a decent start in the lane, and well, I guess the Razor's free farming. He's pulling a lot. He's farming the hard camps with the pulls that he's making, and the Legion Commander, he's just at the point where he can AFK in the jungle and get levels and farm without being contested too much, with that Iron Talon being available. 1,000 net worth lead on the side of Gambit right now. Nothing that can't be changed at all, but I would like to see Vega put more pressure on the lanes right now, though. I guess the Batrider is just focused on farming for the moment, as he's been stacking loads and he's once again farming another bunch of stacks with that third point in his Firefly. He will use the Shrine as well, and that's a lot of levels suddenly coming in towards him. He's to be level 6 now, almost level 7, so he can slowly start pressuring the Lycan. At this point, the Lycan cannot really stay solo in the lane, which is very annoying. Like, either you have to use your ultimate to try and escape when it gets too much against the Batrider, or you just, you know, you just push the lane and then you go into the jungle just to avoid him, because you don't really want to be farming up against a Batrider one-on-one for too long at a time, because if you ever get to have too many stacks on you, you could be killed, and that's always annoying. Lead comes out from the Bane, but Always Wanna Fight doesn't actually want to pick up the rune, because I guess he just feared that if he picked up the rune, then the 2 seconds of value, like the value sleep he would get off, would not be enough. He will find the Batrider here. The Batrider is trying to go for pull through once again, and it's going to be, let's see, the Bane is trying to do something to stop him, but he cannot really do too much. Batrider, let's avoid that long race from the Shadow Fiend in the meantime. He's going to be leeching that experience, and Always Wanna Fight needs to be a little bit careful now. He does have stick charges available, but Afterlife, he skills up his Flame Break, saving that point, and he gets a kill on the Bane. Now let's see the Lycan. He went for his ultimate, trying to run down the Batrider, trying to get a kill on him with that Shapeshift being popped, but that is not going to be happening, as the Batrider just goes for TP out, and that is a 100-second cooldown used, not getting any kills. The Batrider got a kill on the Bane, and the tier 1 tower in the bottom lane in the meantime will be taken down by G, making this rotation with his DK. They might even try and commit for something more, but I guess right now he will just go back to the mid lane, continue farming. They got a tower, they got a kill. They're going to be happy with how things are going. The Razor, not really showing us any big build right now. I imagine he will go for something like the base Aquila drums into SNY kind of build, something along those lines. Seems like the build of choice for most people nowadays. Maybe Dragonlance, some people like Dragonlance as well, but I feel like this is a better drums game rather than Dragonlance. Just because you help the like Fireman Deathball push that you can make happen with the DK and the Razor, so drums seems more appropriate. DK is going for an armlet as well as the first big item. No Midas or anything like that, just straight into the big tank item, the Disruptor. Very, very low level. Same thing for the Night Stalker. These two heroes have not really seen too much light so far in the game. They haven't really been able to do that all that much. I mean, all 3 cores have just been pretty much just farming everywhere they went, so I guess it's just difficult. Another sleep comes out on the Bane, and well, this time he will take the rune and just walk away. Legion Commander still just hitting creeps, trying to get up to that point where he can buy his Blink Dagger, but it's going to take him some time before he gets there. Lycan went for the Midas first item, so he's going to be very greedy, just trying to maximize his farm as much as possible. He will have his treads up soon enough, but that Midas means they can't really take any of the early fights, so whenever you see Vega try to go for a push, try to take a tower, they will have to just dodge it out and just run away. Like, they can split, they can split push, they can push the other lanes, perhaps, but they can never take a straight on 5 versus 5 fight, at least not until the next item is online on the Lycan. The smoke move from Vega Squadron did get seen by the side of Gambit, or at least it was expected, as the Lycan is running away all the way to the bottom lane, trying to avoid whatever might be happening. They don't see anyone from the side of Vega, they don't see anyone in the jungle, so they just assume that they must be smoked, they must be trying to make some move on them, and indeed they are correct. Not that Vega will lose too much time. They lost a little bit of time moving from the top to the mid lane, but they will get the T1 on the mid lane. In the meantime, we have Bignum going for his ultimate with that overgrowth, and Shapeshift comes out from the Lycan. He might be able to get a kill on that DK. They get the duel off, and that is a big kill on the side of Vega Squadron. The tower did get taken down beforehand, but well, I said they couldn't take a 5-on-5 fight, but that was a 5-on-3 fight for the most part. That is something you can do. You can definitely punish overcommitment from the side of Vega Squadron. Well, leads into a kill. They can slowly start healing this tower up in the top lane, as well as Bignum is doing his very best. He does have very good levels on this Treant Protector, sitting in the mid lane for a big part of the game. 2 levels ahead of the enemy suppose right now, so having those 3 points on living armor definitely does make everything a lot easier for him in terms of keeping towers alive and in terms of keeping heroes alive. Lycan is going for a... Okay, he's going for a Mask of Madness. I don't mind that build. Maybe a little bit awkward to go for more attack speed when you already have a Midas, but I mean, Mask of Madness is definitely a very scary item on Lycan. When you get to have like Mask of Madness plus Armlet, that timing is insane. Like the attack speed mixed with the raw damage output of an Armlet, that's a scary amount of right click damage you can do. So see, that's going to be how they kill people easily in the fight.
This sustains gold.
The Legion Commander will get the first duel victory of the game, and he's going to be able to get his blink up in a few moments. He just needs a few more creeps, so we will have a blink up for the next fight. The Bat Rider in the top lane in the meantime will get his own blink up and running. He has most of the components for drums as well, but he decided to not finish it, as you know, just having a casual braces is completely fine as well. You don't need to upgrade it to drums. The braces just gives you a little bit more tankiness and a little bit more intelligence, so you don't have to go back to base all the time when you're regening mana. Top lane, let's see the DK pops his ultimate, tries to go for that tier 1 tower in the meantime. In the background, the other Razor being caught, he's a little bit in danger. He gets fueled up by the Legion Commander. He might be taken down here with a shapeshift, and indeed the Lycan, despite losing a lot of his damage, he's still going to be able to bring down the Razor. The Legion Commander is so goddamn low. Slayer is trying to chase him down. He will get the kill on him, slowly but surely. Yeah, a few more clicks, that's going to be the Legion Commander. In the meantime, on the other side of the map, the fight is still being taken, and looks like it is being won. The Treant Protector will be burned by the Bat Rider's Firefly. He's still alive on that DK. 4 dead on the side of Gambit. Crewman, last man standing, last man surviving. They did have a glimpse available on the Disruptor, but I guess with both G and the Night Stalker being low on resources, they don't want to commit for anything else. They will take the win, and yeah. 2 for 4. That's always a nice trade, even though both of the two people that Vega lost were cores. It is still a worthy trade-off, I would imagine. The Slayer goes in, tries to go on Q. It doesn't do any damage with it, because this is like one of the most annoying things about playing a hero like Night Stalker against Treant Protector. That living armor just, you know, just shits on your damage. Just no damage being done with your Void anymore, and bursting people down with Void is actually a big part of Night Stalker in the early game. Being able to do decent damage with this hero is all based on his first spell, so it's fairly annoying. He does have the urn available to burn through some of those living armor charges. He's going for Solar Crest next, picking up the medallion in a moment, so not going for the like old school Academ's Rush type of builds. I don't like that, as it feels like whenever you go for Academ's first on Night Stalker without having any other items, you always seem to be so squishy in the fight. You don't seem to contribute to the fights other than just granting your team vision. Whereas if you go for like a Heaven's Halberd, a Solar Crest, a Pipe, something like that, you become so tanky, and you do so much more in the team fights by keeping your teammates alive and making the enemy take more damage with the crest. So I like this build a lot. Shadow Fiend rushing towards the BKB on top of the Dragonlance. The Mask of Madness is done on the Lycan, and he is indeed moving towards the Armlet next. T1 town on the bottom, and it's going to be pushed down. The Wolves did scout out the Razor a little bit, so I'm sure Gambit knows exactly what's going to be happening in the bottom lane. We have the DK trying to move in, almost having his Shadow Blade completed. The Treant Protector, he is invisible. He's sitting in the tree line with his Overgrowth available. They see the Razor. They go for the Static Storm with Silent on that Disruptor in place, but is going to be able to stab enough damage to make this worth it? No, he's not. The Lycan is still doing so much damage, just right-clicking without even using the escape shift. He just right-click through the Razor. 161 damage stab, but he's still going to... Well, he's not doing any more damage right now, as the Disruptor is actually taking absolutely no damage, but the Razor and the Bat Rider both already dead. The Disruptor will be taken down as well, and the DK is all on his own, so he will be killed as well. He's trying to bring down Always Want to Fly with him. He will be able to get that one kill, but it is 1 for 4. Definitely not a fight that Vega Squadron wanted to lose this badly. That was the end of the nighttime as well. So there's going to be a good 4-5 minutes where the Night Stalker is going to be much weaker. I guess it's not that big a problem, because it kind of goes both ways, since the Lycan is also stronger than nighttime, but if anything, the Night Stalker relies much more on being able to, on having nighttime than Lycan does. Good fight for the side of Gambit. They get a tower, they got a bunch of kills, and everything is looking sweet. If we take a look at the net worth league, we can see right now that the Shadow Fiend as well as the Lycan is the 2 men in charge. 1,000 above the DK on the Shadow Fiend, and the Lycan is pretty much the same thing above the Razor. Legion Commander is ahead of the Bat Rider as well as the Bat Rider. We haven't really seen too much happen so far from this guy. He's trying to rush towards his eel, so it looks like Afterlife is really just playing the ultra greedy battle rider in this game, just trying to farm as much as he can, not really participating in too many fights, just, you know, focusing on getting items and farm himself. Now they go for 3-man smoking. They have the static storm available, they have the lasso available. Let's see who they can find. Let's see the Legion come out. Oh, this is not how you want to do it though, guys. Communication is key to win the fight. They go for the lasso, but they glimpsed him back before the lasso even came off. As that means Silent, he broke the lasso because of the range difference. They still get the kill with the static storm, but I mean, that was an easy pickoff. There was no one nearby. There was no way that Gambit could try and abuse that little fuck up to actually turn around the fight in their favor. They would have probably used the static storm anyways, but it just seems so weird when you make those kind of moves. Alright, Glimpse back on the Bane. He's going to be taken down, being out of position here in the backlines. Not understanding that Vega, they will happily dive for kills now that the Legion Commander is down. Just having one person out of the fight for the side of Gambit is more than enough for Vega struggling to go for that 5-man death and feel confident that they can win them. Razor is going to go for the Manta Style pickup as the first big item in this game, just to be able to deal with the overgrowth more than anything, to get away from that route. All right. Akinen's Rush Disruptor. That's some confidence right there. That's a big item to expect to get at any point in this game, but it is definitely an item that can change the pace of the game heavily if you ever get it. But that's not now. That's maybe like 20 minutes from now at the earliest stage. See, Night Stalker medallion is completed, halfway towards that Solar Crest as well. We do have a smoking coming up from the side of Gambit. They're showing the Lycan in the mid lane, so it does not seem as obvious they're going for the smoke, but instantly G is going to be able to get the Shadow Blade off. He does get Fiend Script by the Bane, gets cancelled with a glimpse from the Disruptor. Nicely done there. Dragonite not going to be taken down easily by that duel. He's going to still be alive, he's going to be rooted up, and he will finally drop down, committing the ult, committing the Fiend Script, the Overgrowth, the BKB and the Shadow Fiend as well, Recover Souls, everything just trying to get that kill. They did get the kill though, so in the end everything is fine as long as they actually bring down the DK, because if you use all of those ultimates and not kill the DK, that is going to be a setup for a horrible fight straight after.
This sustains. Gold remain.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Oh, a small kill, a tier 1 tower. Just any kind of small trade-off that the Gambit can get at this point is actually so big, because they are the greedy team. They are the farming team. They have the BKB Shadow Fiend, the Dragonlance. He's trying to get a Butterfly next, just going for the, you know, big boy late game items on the Shadow Fiend. As once you have a little bit of stats plus the BKB, it doesn't really matter. You just want to be able to do damage with your next item, so the Butterfly is logical. The Legion Commander is rushing towards the BKB, does not want to go for the Blade Mail, and I can understand that. Blade Mail is never really a bad item, but there's not really any reason to go for Blade Mail this game, because both the Razor and the DK is insanely tanky, so the Blade Mail reflection is not really going to be that useful, and they don't really do any burst damage, so you don't really get... they don't kill themselves with a Blade Mail, so you rather just want to focus on getting the duel off without dying, and maybe doing something useful in the fight by having like a Heaven's Halberd afterwards or something like that. Why was it paused? Okay, just a little bit of lag. Disconnecting. Reconnecting. Back. True support right here, always wanna fly. He knows that the next items he's going to be able to acquire for himself is going to be wards, wards, and wards. Whereas Bignum, he's maybe trying to be a little bit more fancy, trying to go for the medallion as well. He's very underfarmed for a tree though, only level 9. Whereas the Night Stalker, despite having probably one of the worst starts I've seen, like being level 1 at the first night time, he's been able to recover pretty nicely. 5k net worth, he's been able to get a couple of last hits, he has his urn, his medallion, almost a full solo crest. So he's not as underfarmed as he appeared to be in the first little bit of the game. Batrider will finish his Eoscepter as well now. He can just buy at any point. Not going for the 4-star first is fine this game, I think, because much like when you play against Axe, you kind of want to have an Eoscepter as fast as possible against Legion Commander. Just so you can, you know, self-heals is always nice against roots and whatnot, but it's mostly just because the Batrider wants to be able to cancel the enemy's Fiend Script without using his lasso forward. So the Eels is nice for that, and you also want to be able to maybe control the Lycan a little bit more while he doesn't have BKB, maybe use it on the Legion Commander just in case his right-click damage is actually scary in the duel. I don't know if that's ever going to be a point if he duels the DK or the Razor, but we'll see. Usually when you're in this kind of matchup, if the Legion goes for a duel on the Razor or the DK, you rather just want to kill him. You just want to like focus him down, use the Solar Crest on him, and then just burst him, rather than actually eel him and delay the duel. But we'll see. No comes out from the side of Vega Squadron. They're going to be moving together as a team. Nighttime is up and running and all that, so the Night Stalker is going to be very, very powerful right now. Mantis is ready on the race as well. They're going to find the Lycan. This is the one catch they want to get, the best possible catch they could even ask for, as the Legion is nowhere near in position to be able to purge off that lasso. So they get a free kill on Darksec on that Lycan, and with 40 seconds on the sideline, there's no buyback available. That means that T2 Town in the bottom lane will be taken down without a sweat being dropped from this Vegas Squadron lineup. Just a good pickoff. Very, very nice pickoff. They had vision there, so they knew what they were getting themselves into. They saw the Lycan, and well, then they just go for it. They get the kill. Very back and forward game for sure. The Lycan will very soon have his BKB though. Once you have the BKB on the Lycan with the BKB on the Shadow Fiend, maybe waiting for the next item on the Shadow Fiend as well, getting at least the Eagle Song so you have that pure damage output. You don't really want to sit with a BKB Dragonlance Shadow Fiend with 3000 gold on him, not using any of that gold for a little bit of damage. But either way, double BKB is definitely going to be a very big peak for the side of Gambit, so we'll see if they can play around it. They still need to get a good initiation off though. It's not just based on getting the BKBs alone. Like, both teams can at any point win a fight against the other team. It's really just about getting the first big jump be favorable for your side, then they can win. And in that situation, you kind of have to favor the Vega Squadron lineup, because you have a Batrider with a Night Stalker versus a Legion as a main initiator. So let's see. Gambit goes in. They get a nice overgrowth out. They go for a sleep on the Batrider as well. They get the first kill on the Disruptor straight away. The Bane is still going to be alive. He has his Fiend Script available. He goes for a little stab, and he will go for the Fiend Script on the Batrider, but that is going to be cancelled by Slayer on the Night Stalker. Then the Razor is going to be killed with a duel in the backline. Still Gambit. They've already taken 2 kills. They're trying to go for the Batrider. He's just sitting on the high ground trying to duke away from everything, and he will be able to get himself out with that blink away before the Lycan was close enough to hit him. The shapeshift ending a little bit too soon. Now the Night Stalker is going to be scouted out, but he can get himself away, just flying over the trees, and then he's out of there as well. So maybe not the biggest fight in the world, but still a small fight that goes in the way of Gambit. Did they have to use PKBs there? Yeah, they did have to use. And that is the Eagle Song picked up on the Shadow Fiend as well. Not the biggest fight in the world, but, you know, it's more dual damage for the Legion. The Razor got killed, so he didn't get anything done in that fight. And Razor's one of those heroes that actually have a pretty hard time farming themselves back into the game, especially when you're playing against heroes that farm much faster than you. So he doesn't really want to be the one dying in these fights. I mean, neither DK nor Razor is heroes that can outfarm Shadow Fiend and Lycan in a normal game scenario, so if there's ever a trade-off, then it usually will favor Gambit just because they can farm much, much faster. Mucho faster. It looks like the Night Stalker is going to go for the Heaven's Halberd as the next item. More evasion for himself, makes him a lot more tanky, and I like this build. Solar Crest is nice just so you can actually get some damage, because both Razor and DK is not really any burst heroes, so having negative armor for the enemy just helps them actually do enough damage to kill supports within a few hits, and not have to waste like 10 seconds of time to just kill a support. And well, the Heaven's Halberd, make sure the Lycan doesn't hit in the shapeshift. You need to use it pre-BKB though, or you have to wait until those 10 seconds of BKB is over and then use it. So the Lycan will still be able to do a lot in the fight when the BKB is completed, but you know, the BKB charges will eventually be low, and the Heaven's Halberd will always be useful, right? I wouldn't even be surprised to see a second Halberd come out. Not from the Razor perhaps. It's not that uncommon to see Razors build Halberd either. Just because both the Shadow Fiend and the Lycan will do insane amounts of right-click damage. So having multiple Halberds does not seem like a bad idea. And the Disruptor is not really going to be able to get any gold. DK is going for an Assault Crest, more armor for the team, which is something they desperately do need. Bad Rider does have a gem on him now as well, and they're going for Roshan with the Solar Crest. They go for a smoke straight after, so they want to try and take a fight, but that is on top of the shrine. There's going to be a vision given. Let's see, they're trying to go in the background, they're trying to find a jump. The Legion Commander, is he going to be jumped? Yep, he gets lassoed up, he gets put on a cliff. Well, at least he's trying to, yep, he's going to be stuck there. He goes for the BKB, he's going to be hit by Afterlife, making sure he cannot blink away, even though he is BKB'd, and that is going to be the Bane taken down. Let's see, the Dragon that's going to be next on the menu. Apologies. Dragon Knight dropping down very low. He does go for the Shadow, but he will be able to survive for now. They don't have any detection right now, but the Razor's already dead. The Night Stalker is dead as well, so Darkseid with that fresh new BKB is going to be able to secure the fight, even though the initiation looked very good for the side of Vega Squadron, making sure that Legion was not part of the fight at all, just being stuck on a cliff with a full BKB duration. But even in that scenario, they don't really win the fight on the side of Vega. They lose their core and they only get a support for it. That was the 10-second BKB on the DK as well, his ultimate being committed. And again, it's the Razor who dies. It's every single fight the Razor's the one dying. And at this point, it is very, very, very not fun. You can't keep this up. He's actually going to go for a Assault Crest himself. Or actually, no, he did. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure the DK was like, dude, I'm getting AC. Don't get AC. And then he decides to go for Shiva's Guard instead, which is a perfectly fine item. Doesn't give him any right-click damage, but at least he gets a little bit tankier, because he definitely needs something to survive in these fights. He does not have enough survivability at the moment. The Lincoln Sphere would only be a temporary fix if he were to go for it. One, they can pop the Lincolns with the Bane very easily, so they can still get the duel off. It just makes it a little bit more annoying, and if you go for Lincolns, that's 5,000 gold, that doesn't give you any armor, so I feel like going for the Shiva's Guard is definitely the better option. It's usually a lot better to go for an item that will always be useful for you, rather than going for an item that will only help you if the enemy doesn't actually pop your Lincolns properly. Gambit in mid lane, they smoke up the movement, they try to jump, oh, they go right on the Razor, he pops his Mantis out, is going to be able to survive long enough. The BKB gets popped as well from Treasure Cat on the Legion Commander, but he's not going to be able to figure out which was the real Razor, and he's going to be pulled back. The BKB will end, he's going to be the main focus perhaps. The Night Stalker is going to go for him. Razor, see, he's going to be in the middle of it, he goes for the Static Link on that Lycan, but the Lycan goes in, takes down the Night Stalker. The Disruptor is going to be dead as well, and that BKB is going to run out. The Lycan is still doing a lot of work. He's going to focus the DK down. He gets rooted up in place by Bignum, sitting around these trees, and that is going to be the duel coming out from Treasure Cat. He gets the kill on the DK, and that is 3 down from the side of Vega Squadron, as it just seems like they're not able to take these fights. They're not able to take these fights. They don't lose the Battle Rider, so the gem is never really lost. But that is going to be Roshan going in the way of Gambit, and that is a big net worth lead climbing up their way. as the Razor just seems way too far behind at this point to take these fights. And what seemed like a very greedy lineup from the side of Gambit is working out now, because they weren't really punished as much as as much as you would hope in the early game. And now it's late game. The Midas Lycan is paying off. He's not really been killed at any points in the game. At the moment, he's sitting with only 2 deaths. The Shadow Fiend has 1 death to his name, so they haven't really been punished. He has his AC as the next item, the BKB up and ready. The Butterfly on the Shadow Fiend. He's moving for a Hurricane Pike next. And he will go for Daedalus on top of that, so it's just going to be raw damage coming out from here on out. Maybe he goes for Satanic as well at some point, as that's you know, a good mix between damage and stats, but we'll see. Gem has been picked up by Bignum as well, so he doesn't have to worry about any sneaky walls being placed from Vega Scrotum to give them the advantage in the fights. As at the moment, it just seems like as long as Gambit gets a good initiation off, or at least they don't get like jumped in a bad position, then they should be able to win the fights. So Gem makes that much easier. T2 on the bottom lane will be taken down by Gambit. Just, you know, whatever little bit of net worth you can find in the map. Looks like in the meantime top tower is going to be pushed down by the side of Vega Scrotum, trying to get something, but they're going to be forced back to base as the Shadow Fiend, with that Aegis being available on their side. He's going high ground, they want to go in. The Bad Rat is going to be able with a lasso. He does have his 4 stuff available now as well, so he can pull someone back. Let's see if the Legion Commander is ready to purge someone off. Or if, okay, he goes to lasso. Oh, and the Legion Commander is going to be able to get it off, but they get dragged a little bit in the meantime. Daxak is going to pop his BKB and his ultimate to get away from that static link. 133 damage was tapped from the Razor. The Disruptor has been taken down again. Never ever getting to use that Static Storm without dying for it. Poor little Disruptor, he's not really been having the best game of his life. The Dragonite gets taken down with the Legion Commander duel as well, and that is going to be the Metarax being removed from the game. So Gambit win a nice fight, and that Disruptor, holy moly. It's not really been the best game for Silent. It's really not been his best performance this game. Been picked off most fights, he's never really getting to do anything, and I mean, even if he gets to get a decent Static Storm off, you can't really do that because you have to Static Storm after the BKB's end. So you have to survive in the fight for the like 5 seconds of duration where the BKBs are active, and then you have to, you know, look for that big boy Static Storm like you win the after fight or whatever you want to call it. But that's apparently a little bit more, a little bit of a tough ask for a Tranquil Boots only Disruptor. No defensive items, no nothing, no Ghost Scepter, no Glimmer Cape, so there's not much he can do to keep himself alive at this point. The Razor does have that Shiva's Guard completed, moving towards a Butterfly next, just trying to get some damage and tankiness, as it's not enough to just get tanky, you also need to actually eventually kill the enemies, so Butterfly might not be a bad idea. It seems like they're struggling in both regards, both surviving and killing, so a good mix of both is what they need. Assault Crafts on the DK will also be very nice, but that's a lot of farm difference on the 2 sides. The Shadow Fiend sitting on 21k net worth now versus the 13 and 12,000 net worth Dragonite and Razor, so this guy is not messing around anymore. His Pike is up, his Crystallis is up, he almost has a full Daedalus as well. I'm not sure what you actually do to stop Kuhlman at this point, as he's going to be moving up the high ground, he's going to be pushing and taking down that TFE tower in moments. BKB gets popped by the Legion. He tried to go for the initiation, but he got hit by that plasma field at the back edge of it, so he didn't really get to go for that blink duel that apparently he was hoping to go for. And he tells his team, go get back. I used my BKB. Let's not take any unnecessary risks. Let's just go for the top shrine. Let's take the T2 tower on the top lane. There's no need to push things more than you need to. They're in a good position right now. As long as they don't throw anything away, it very much seems like the game is in the bag for the side of Gambit. Vega Squadron, they are on the last little bits of, the last inches of hope. The Ghost Scepter is up on the Disruptor, so at least he's going to be able to have a little bit more to say in the fight, survive a few more seconds. What else? Night Stalker, Heaven's Halberd, actually very close to being completed. That's going to be a nice item upgrade, especially because the BKBs are getting fairly low. 6 seconds on the Legion Commander, 7 on the Lycan, and 5 seconds on the Shadow Fiend. So That's going to be nice, especially with the Daedalus now being done on the Shadow Fiend. If you can get a Halberd on him before he pops his BKB, that is going to be necessary to do anything, because I don't think you're going to have fun against this Shadow Fiend otherwise. Like the first few seconds of the fights before the static link starts sapping any damage, those hits is going to be painful as all hell for Kuman. The Aegis is gone, but let's see. Batrider just lingering about in the woods, maybe looking for, well, probably just scouting out what's happening, not really looking for an initiation as the team is not in a position to do anything about it. But that is the Firefly being committed. He does not have Firefly now, and well, the Shadow Fiend is just going to work. The Wolves will give him a little bit of vision, and that tier 3 tower is going to drop down very, very fast. Mid lane is going to be pushed up by Lucian from the DK, but looks like this Shadow Fiend is going to take down the tier 3 tower without being contested at all. As a DK, maybe looking for a wraparound. Night Stalker pops his nighttime, but like we all know, that's not a thing that the Night Stalker will ever mind. What's called the Lycan will ever mind, because that means the Howl is much better. So he's like, thank you very much, sir. Afterlife trying to go for a wraparound, maybe trying to catch someone on the way out, but he's not going to get the chance to do so. As Gambit, they will just back themselves up as 5, or maybe not. The Shadow Fiend lingering about farming the camps before moving back. Going to farm them. He's going to TP out. Not going to test. He's not going to take any more risks that he doesn't have to. Alright, and the next item is going to be that Satanic. So he picks up the Morbid Mask, and I don't know, this is like the perfect Shadow Fiend game. You can just, you don't have to go for any defensive items, you don't need like a Lingens, you don't need anything like that. You just go for right click items, you go for a few stat items, you're super tanky. The enemy has no way of dealing with you right now. He's going to be level 25 in a moment, which gives him that extra little bit of attack range as well, which is going to be nice. And yeah, I don't know what you do against him. AC is down on the Lycan. The Linken Sphere is going to be his next item of choice. He doesn't want to be static linked every single fight, so to avoid that from happening. Treant Protector has a Solar Crest available as well. The Legion Commander with a Shadow Blade moving back towards the Blade Mill now. As I mean, a Blade Mill is always useful. You can get it at any point in the game, and it's going to do a lot of work as a Legion Commander, so I don't mind getting it now. What else is happening? Razor. Talisman of Evasion. So, you know, baby steps towards that butterfly. Baby steps. Dragonite still trying to finish that AC. He even bought out for the Hyper Zone, so he's really committed on completing the AC rather than anything else. They do not have buybacks available on anyone. Any of the cores on the side of Vegas Squadron by the looks of things. Let's see, buyback status, that's it. So let's see, the Batrider is the only one with buyback available on the side of Vegas Squadron right now. Trying to go for an Aghanim Scepter as the next item so he can get a little bit more damage his way and perhaps carry a fight or two. I mean, if you get a lasso off on like a Legion plus Shadow Fiend or Legion plus Lycan, that can do a lot of work in the fights for sure. Even like a Legion plus Bane, honestly, just controlling 2 people in the fights where one of them is Legion be very useful, because obviously if you don't control the Legion, then he will just purge off the lasso. And if the Legion is smart, well, if the Legion knows exactly how the Aghanim's Batrider lasso works, then if you just purge the first lasso, then the second lasso will be purged as well. So kind of fancy way it works. At least that's what I think. So most spells do that. Like for example, if you get glimpsed, then both lassos gets purged and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure press the attack works in the same way, that if you purge the first person, then the second person gets purged as well. I might be wrong though. I have not tested this. See, Smokeang comes up and starts up. Vega, they know. Oh, not like this, guys. Smoke did not break. This is the desperation coming out from Vega. They know they're in a very, very tough spot, and the first thing that happens is they run into an illusion, the smoke doesn't break, and then they just try to kill the illusion. Now let's see, the Razor gets fueled up, he gets taken down. That's the first thing that happens from inside of Vega's Squadron. He does have buyback available, but this is looking bad. Nightsoul gets picked up, Lasso comes out, but Batrider is going to be slapped up and controlled full dead on the side of Vega's Squadron as they just get mauled down. Failing that initiation on the illusion just means that, well, the fight is lost. Gambit gets to know where they are on the map. They can set up for a team fight, and that was a very easy team fight indeed to execute. So Gambit Esports will win the series against Vega. Very nicely done there. Vega supposedly being one of the teams that you would be scared to play against in the CIS regional qualifiers, but Gambit, they're showing that they